Morning, folks. Jay here at The View with your Leeds news for Thursday, the 8th of December. And we're not going to hang around. Let's just get straight into this. Short and sweet one today. World Cup payouts. For those who don't know, there is a 190 million pot available for clubs who have players representing their nations at the World Cup. Leeds have several that will benefit from this, as well as several players who are no longer at Leeds that will benefit from as well. Basically, anyone who's been at your club for the last 2 years applies for this payout. So it means Leeds will benefit from Dan James, Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, although they're not currently at Leeds. Dan James on loan. Leeds will still benefit from the what is now £9,000 per player per day. You obviously add into that Adams, Aronson and Christensen as well. I'm not good at maths, so let's can work out how much we get for that. It's basically £9,000 per player per day for the entire time they're with their nation at their camp. So it's not just games, it's the entire time that they're there. So somebody can work that one out. Moving on then to Leeds playing Elche tonight in our Pre-season 2, game 1, I suppose we could call this. The kickoff is at 7:15 UK time. And from a goalkeeping perspective, Ilian Meslier and Christopher Klassen will remain back at Leeds, who both suffering from a viral infection. Nothing crazy, just a bit of an illness. Which means Leeds' goalkeeping options are Joel Robes and Dani van de Heuvel. Nice to see Dani get some minutes tonight after what he's been through, and we'll get to that a bit later on. Also, from a defensive perspective, Rasmus Christensen still returning from international duty. Junior Firpo out injured. Diego Llorente is a doubt for the game after having a slight operation on a hand injury. And Robin Koch had a slight strain or a slight pull or something early in the week, but again, we'll cover that in a bit more detail in a bit. So basically, from a defensive perspective, you're looking at having a defensive Ayling, Drame, Cooper, Hjelde and Stroke. A couple of permutations that you could do there. You could have either Ayling or Drame playing right back. You have Cooper and Hjelde playing centre half, or Cooper and Stroke playing centre half, with Hjelde playing left back. So a couple of permutations there. Midfield options are pretty much fine. Only Tyler Adams and Aronson who are still away at the World Cup. Been an interesting game to have a look at tonight. Pretty small squad. I would expect the young players to be involved in this as well. Moving on to a transfer and an incoming rumour, and I haven't covered this because I'm being very honest and very frank. I think it's absolute nonsense. I think there's no truth, zero truth in this at all. Chris Wood, who is 30 years of age and outside the age profile of players Leeds usually buy, it's been reported to be heading back towards Leeds, or Leeds are interested in a move for him. Yesterday came out that these rumours were all false. There's zero interest in the player, but they've surfaced again today. I've been asked for my opinion on this, and I think it's a very busy agent panicking to try and get a player who's not getting any game time. He's got 4 goals in his last 25 games. His best years are way behind him, and he doesn't suit the style of play that Leeds play. I think it's an agent story, and it's a bit lazy, if I'm being very honest about it. It's floating around, and it really shouldn't be. I can't see Chris Wood come back to Leeds. I think if Leeds signed Chris Wood as their striker, there would be uproar. There'd be a couple of the people who like to bring back the old players, who only see the old players, who would be happy with this, but a lot of people would be thinking, we're linked with Pedro and we're linked with Kuna, but we're signing Wood. It's just not going to happen. I think there's zero chance of this happening. I could be wrong, but I think there's zero chance of this happening. Moving on then, talking about the injury to Robin Koch, and he could be involved tonight, but he might sit out. He hobbled off on Tuesday with what appeared to be either an Achilles or a calf injury. So nothing too serious, they said. It was just a bit of he felt something there, and the Yorkshire Evening Post reporting that it was nothing too serious, and he should be in contention for tonight. I think a safer hand would probably leave him out of that game, given another couple of days to recover. There's more games coming up that he can get involved in as well. Moving on to Cody Gakpo, or Hakpo, Cody Gakpo. And I haven't tried to cover much of the stuff that's floating around about Gakpo. We know Leeds bid for him. We know what happened. There's no point in trudging through old news. But he's been speaking to the Dutch media ahead of their quarter-final against Argentina, and has had the following things to say about the transfer to Leeds. I haven't heard from Manchester United yet. If they come, I will think about it with God's help. I thought about Man United last summer, but that didn't happen. I didn't know anymore. Then Leeds arrived. I had doubts. Now I want to wait and see. I think it's very, very clear that Cody Gakpo is trying to orchestrate a move to Manchester United. I think he wants to go there. That's where he wants to be. And he's hoping they're going to come in for him. Whether they do or not, but the club being sold, I don't know. But if you want to go and play for Scum, you can go and play for Scum. You won't be playing for Leeds. Leeds fans won't take to you if you're going to be coming into Leeds talking about wishing to play for Manchester United. We would all look at that as come into the Premier League, play for Leeds for a season, then move to Manchester United anyway. Yeah, so the less said about that, the better. It'll be the last thing we talk about Cody Gakpo. So We'll move on from that. That deal's not going to happen. Darko Gyabi, one of the young players brought into Leeds during the summer for 5 million, the 18-year-old, and you forget that he's only 18, has been speaking about his learning experience since he's come to Leeds. And what he has said on this, he's not just learned from Tyler, but Mark as well, and Clicky, all the midfielders, learning the little details, like their positioning, when we don't have the ball, and when we do have the ball, the space they're picking up to receive. He also talked about scanning shoulders and keeping an eye on what's going on off the ball. Hey, you know, with the ball and without the ball, it's important stuff. He's been great. He's done really well for the 20s. He's shown some really, really sharp moments of eye-catching passes, as well as an ability to hit hard and win ball back as well. He's knocking on the door of the first team at 18. Great signing. I think it'll turn out to be 5 million for an 18-year-old. Seemed an awful lot during the summer, but the more you watch him, there's little small bits of his game he needs to improve on. Gets caught on the ball a little bit too much sometimes, not all the time. But he's been great, absolutely great. So fingers crossed for Darko. I'm sure he'll get some game time tonight, and I'm sure he'll be involved in the Sociedad game as well. And then the final story today, just to move on and finish up, Dani van de Heuvel has been speaking about the car crash that he had in the summer that left him with a broken neck. Pretty bad one. Pretty bad one as well, and the details is are quite scary. So he's been asked about it, and basically what he said is, it was a bad crash. There was one staff member and 3 players in the car. We were driving on the main road and someone tried to cross the side road. We had to avoid him, so our driver steered right and we drove into a traffic pole. I was the only one who didn't have an airbag, and I was the worst injured. Dani was sitting in the middle seat in the back. Obviously didn't get protection, a seat that's joked about sometimes as being the launch pad in car crashes, so it was bad one. He then went on further to say that I was unconscious after the impact. I couldn't remember anything. I woke up in the car. The car was smoking, beeping. There was glass everywhere. I remember my jaw was really painful and my neck just felt really stiff. It was scary. Did I worry for my life? Yes, definitely. Terribly scary one. Left him out for 6 months with an injury. Other details in that, you can find that article online as well. But some of the details, we're trying to crawl out of a car through a window with glass everywhere and a broken neck. It's scary stuff of nightmares. But thankfully Dani is on the mend, and nobody suffered any major life-threatening injuries, which is great to see that. And Dani is now back involved with the Leeds squad, and fingers crossed he gets some minutes tonight and just puts that behind him. Be great to see that as well then. So plenty of time left in his career for him to make a mark at Leeds in the goalkeeping position. So fingers crossed for him. And that's it, folks. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow morning with more Leeds news. Bye.